everyone, welcome back to our Joseki series. I'm Ryan, and today we will continue going over 5 to 6 stand josekis. As you can see behind me, I've set up the large avalanche or big avalanche. So this is notorious for how complicated this joseki is and how much reading it requires. So to begin, we have the 3-4 point, high approach. Black attaches, white takes the right side, black extends this time. So white has a very easy way to simplify this by Atari and tiger's mouth. So this is as white, you can avoid it by this way. So if white extends, black has also a simplification, is just to descend. If white extends, black extends, and then white extends again. So this is another joseki that we talked about before, which also is simplified if you want to avoid the large avalanche. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we will talk about when black hanes. So white ataris and descends. Now there are a few options for black to pick. The first one is it's a bit of a trick move, and it's cutting here. And I've seen this a little bit in games, but this is generally less common because the end result is, if white plays correctly, then the end result is not so good for black. So black ataris and black plays the 2-2 point. So if you don't want to go too complicated for this, white could also always just capture. If white captures, black has to protect here, and then white can just take the right side. And this would be an acceptable result for both. If white wants to be a bit more engaging, then white could push. Then black needs to atari, white captures, and then black connects back this way. So now white could cut and then descend. So after this, if black blocks, then black cannot block this way, black has to come back here, because if black blocks this way, then white could get a sente and then capture the corner. So black has to return to this point. So right now black has to return here. And after that, white could just come out like this. So generally, it's not going to be a good result for black, although it's a very complicated fight. So this is what's ultimately going to determine who is better in this corner. So I wouldn't advise black to play this move. The conclusion is that if white plays correctly, it's not a good result for black. What about this outside turn? This is one of the branches of variations in the large avalanche. Now white cuts, then black extends to the center. Now white plays tiger's mouth. There's no options here. White has black ataris, white connects, and then black double hanes. Here is where we branch off now. One of the variations, white just turns here to capture these 3 stones. Then black would atari, and then connect. So this is one variation for the large avalanche. White captures the left side, while black gets influence in the center. Note here that even though it looks like black doesn't have a lot, black has still 2 options. In the future, black could block to develop on the lower side, or black could hane a sente move in the center and develop in the center as well, and towards the right. So this is an even result right now. Now, here is where we get really complicated. If white doesn't want to simply capture these 3 stones and let black have the outside, then white would have to jump. Now a fight begins because we don't have mutual agreement, so black has to atari, and extend out. So at this point, white turns. So this is a sente move, and then atari's here. Black connects, and then white blocks. So this locally in the corner, let's see what the result is. So what if black wants to fill in liberties in the corner, black could still capture the corner, but not completely, because white could push, atari, black connects, and then simply atari, and then connect here. So this is locally a ko, but the outside is so empty. So black does not want to just play here now, and white could leave that as a ko and come back later. So black does not play here locally, so black plays this one. The outside, white has to protect. None of these groups can be captured. So there are 2 variations now. The first one being white attaches. Black extends here. So remember that this is a good shape in the kosumi here. It puts a lot of pressure on this upper group. Now, the correct move for white right now is to descend. And notice how after this descend, the corner is now completely dead. So before, when black played here, it no longer works because white could push and throw in. So now when black captures, then because of the stone, there's no liberties left. What about when black plays here? Right? It seems like it's 5 versus 3. But the problem with that is when white gets the 2-2 position, after this atari, white could descend here. After descending here, this black group is still dead. You could verify that yourself. So the corner is now dead, and black is left to benefit from the outside. So then black hanes here, white extends, black hanes, white hanes, and then black extends, white plays the tiger's mouth, and after black hanes, black returns to the right side. So this is a joseki result. I like to point out here that white cannot hane here. This actually happened in finals in a international professional tournament, and so white was kujie, and he made a very bad mistake, which ended up very badly. So this hane is not very big because the corner is already dead. So coming out on this side is not big. But the important thing is, after black cuts, the result is devastating. So in the end, black got a huge wall in the center, and it was not in it, and white got completely surrounded, having to go back and fill all the liberties. So be careful here that white absolutely has to protect this cut. Okay. So instead of attaching directly, a more common variation for white is to atari and then attach. So the center is still not killable. So black plays here, white pushes out. And sorry, there was no stone there. So after white pushes out, black can hane, white hanes. Again, black extends, and white protects this. So after this hane, even though it looks like white is able to get this out in sente, but you can see here that after black ataris here, it's not so easy now for white. So white still descends on the first line, but now there's a ko here. Because of this exchange, black could potentially wedge and then descend. So locally, before doing that, black would exchange this, so the corner is not so good, and then descend. So now you can see that after white hanes, then black tari, and now this is locally a ko. Now you might see why white does not want to exchange this, because now white has a ko threat. And also, white could extend. So black, even though there's a ko here now, black cannot exploit that as of yet. So instead of wedging, black comes back here. And this is pretty much the end of the joseki. So there we have it. We have went through some of the josekis for the outside turn for the large avalanche. If you have any questions about today's joseki problems, leave us a comment below and go to our website. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe below. I am Ryan Lee. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.